Hey doing, boys? Good morning. Good morning. Tomatosaucin here, and I am absolutely doing the work for you so you don't have to. That's right, boys. This is an Arms Warrior only deep dive. I know in my last video, I might have put the spotlight on Fury a little harder, but that's only because I was excited to see a specialization of warriors rise into the mix of the full DPS breakdown and rankings in Ulduar. So we've got Fury Warriors there hitting with mages and shadow priests and shamans. They're right in the middle of the mix. Some fights they're going to be higher, some fights they're going to be lower. But where does that leave Arms Warriors? Well, I've gone through the sims today, done a lot of work on this morning, put a couple hours into it, and I have set up a multitude of different Arms Warrior sims to arrive at what I consider the absolute best in slot, plate only, armor for Arms Warriors in Ulduar. Now, before we get into the numbers, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, guys, click that red sub button. Doesn't cost you anything, and it just continues to add to the growth of the channel. We hit a huge milestone yesterday. We broke 2,000 subscribers. Boys, we started this channel, we really started this channel in TBC, let's be honest, right? We went from, like 100 subscribers to about 350, 400 subscribers on the back of one video, the kebab video, that changed the course of TBC Classic forever. But now, in the last 90 days, we've gone from that 400 or so subscriber count to over 2,000 subscribers, right? We've been putting out consistent content. You guys have been loving it. You've been interacting with the channel. You've been liking. You've been subscribing. You've been commenting and sharing the videos. I see all that in the YouTube Analytics Creator Studio, boys. I absolutely appreciate it. And I can't even say just boys anymore, because we've got girls checking out the content too. And we welcome you, all 3% of our viewers that are female. Thank you for interacting with the channel. I hope that number grows over time. I'm going to have to stop just addressing the boys when I do those addresses, right? We're going to have to say girls and boys now going forward when we address the class. Now let's get to it. Girls and boys, Arms Warrior, Ulduar. We're absolutely banging. You can see right here, this is our best in slot simulation number. I sim plate only BIS because I feel like an Arms Warrior should be an all plate. And it bangs, right? It absolutely bangs. You see 8,558 DPS. Now, Tomatosaucin, the next question you guys are asking me, how did you sim this, right? What are your different settings? What were the talents that you used? And we're going to go into that after we go through the gear. Here's the gear that I arrived at. Starting at Warhelm of the Champion. We're using the Ebon Blade enchant. We've got our Relentless Earth Siege Diamond. And we're rocking an Inscribed Noble Topaz in there so that we get the 8 strength bonus. You can see this helmet has 69 crit, 69 hit and 98 crit. So we're absolutely banging. And you can see our melee crit raid buffed is over 51% on an Arms Warrior. We're perfectly hitting the hit cap, and we get a decent amount of expertise. Could the expertise be better? Absolutely. Maybe if I swapped out some gems for expertise gems, we could get this number a little higher. But I have a sheet that I'm going to show you guys that you guys can check my work. You guys can see all my settings, and you guys can sim your Arms Warriors on your own and check it out a little bit, right? So you guys can take what I got for the best in slot. I was really focusing on strength and armor penetration gems, and maybe you guys mix it up a little bit and get even higher numbers. That's what we're here for. We're not here to take everything I say as dogma. We're here to challenge my results and do better, right? And if you do that, boys, put it in the comments, right? Drop anything in the comments so that we can continue to progress Arms Warriors in Ulduar. Maybe the sim number goes from 8558 all the way to 8700 with a little bit of optimizations. It could happen. So, spoke about the Warhelm of the Champion. Going into the Pendulum of Infinity, You really can't find a better necklace than this for arms. You would think the haste, wouldn't be valued that high, but the haste I'm noticing is simming pretty well for arms. So I drop a 34, a fractured dragon's eye gem in this, bypassing the 4 agility. Then we go into the shoulder plates of the Celestial Watch because we're simming plate only here. If you do want to challenge your rogues for a leather gear, the shoulder pads of the Intruder would be a great choice here. You are going to go over hit cap with these, but you're going to get some much needed expertise rating as well. So, you have some options in the shoulder slot. For plate only, though, I really like the way shoulder plates of the Celestial Watch look. And I think they have some great stats for us in critical strike and armor penetration while not adding to our hit cap. We drop our Sons of Hodir Exalted Reputation enchant here. And then we have an Inscribed Noble Topaz, as well as a Bold Dragon's Eye. Now we go to Drape of the Faceless, which is... this it? Drape of the Faceless General? Okay, they moved it to phase 2. Yeah, okay, they moved it to the right phase now. This is it. I thought the item level seems a little bit low. I'm dropping a 34 armor penetration gem in this slot, which is a fractured dragon's eye, and also an inscribed noble topaz, so that we get that 6 agility. We're enchanting it with flex weave underlay. We're getting some big stats here: critical strike, attack power by 105, and armor penetration by 34. Then we go into where we start loading up our tier pieces, which is our chest piece, Conqueror Siegebreaker's breastplate, and that's where you see we're going after a 2-piece here. This is an awesome piece. You absolutely want this piece. There's no item level slot that's better than this piece. You're getting critical strike chance and armor penetration here. You're going to hit it with 10 stats. You're going to drop your enchanted eye here so you can get 6 more crit as well, and 16 armor penetration. This goes over to our other set bonus item, our Conqueror Siegebreaker's Gauntlets. These are just a great hit and expertise piece. We're going to throw a hyperspeed accelerator on them, as well as an Inscribed Noble Topaz to grab the 4 hit rating, and this carries us just over that 263 hit cap. But without it, you're under it. Then we go into the Belt of the Colossal Rage, which is just an awesome piece. A lot of hit, a lot of crit, big plate damage, big plate there, 252 eye level. We can drop 3 bold Scarlet Rubies in here. Excuse me. And we're looking good, right? Then we have our plated Leggings of Ruination, which we're going to hit with our Ice Scale Shard for the 75 attack power, 22 critical strike chance, 3 bold Scarlet Rubies. You can see we're getting critical strike chance and haste here, again with the haste. So we're taking something from the Unholy DKs after they all get it, I guess. But it's item level 252, so it absolutely sims better than our lower item level tier pieces. Now, we go into the Sabatons of Lifeless Night. These, again, 252 eye level. We're going to hit them with the Nitro boost, so we'll have 24 critical strike rating here. We're getting an additional 73 on the boots with more haste. So you can see, right, haste is backing out for Arms Warriors. We're getting haste on a lot of pieces, but that's only because of the eye level. So you're getting so much more main stat that the haste is just like a little bit of a bonus. It's not going to scale the best with your class, but at the end of the day, strength does. So you're getting all the strength you can. Then for your rings, you're grabbing both the quest rings eventually off of Algalon. So Brand Signet Ring with Brand Sealing Ring, dropping bold Scarlet Rubies in both of these. For your trinkets, Mjolnir Runestone, which is absolutely massive for armor penetration, and you get a huge amount of critical strike chance here. And then Dark Matter, which has firmly overtaken Dark Moon card greatness, and I will show you that in the sheets here. You can see on Dark Matter, it increases your attack power by a baseline of 251, and then your melee and ranged attacks have a chance to increase your critical strike rating by 612 for 10 seconds. And what really lifted Dark Matter over Dark Moon card greatness, mind you, they're very close, but this is a little bit better, was simply the fact that the item level increase just bumped it up just enough. Now for weapons, I I sim 2 options: Dark Edge of Depravity, which is a poleaxe specialization, or Voldrethar, Dark Blade of Oblivion, Lightning Bolt, which is if you decide to go sword specialization. Now for our settings, you can see here, I explicitly tell the sim when we're going to use each cooldown. But here's the most important aspect of it is our rotation. So I use Mortal Strike. I use Rend, obviously. Our Mortal Strike Rage Threshold, I set at 35, Slam at 25, and Heroic Strike at 50 for Two-Handed Arms Warrior. I always select Heroic Strike during Execute phase. I sim these as the highest max theoretical DPS, which would mean we would not be sundering for our highest max theoretical DPS. But more often than not, you will be maintaining Sunder or sundering fully in your raid environment. So, again, this is just highest max theoretical. It'll be a little bit lower if you have to jump into Sunder duty. And then obviously we're arms warriors, so we are selecting battle stance. The duration that I use is always 180 seconds, which is 3 minutes. And then you can see the execute durations are default, and I just leave this as a custom NPC. For our consumables, I go double haste pot with a Flask of Endless Rage, the Fish Feast, Global Thermal Sapper charges, and Serenite Bombs, because you should all be engineers. And then for talents, we have our Poleaxe specialization talent, and then we have our sword specialization talent. And I always sim in sight, and I always sim with these 3 glyphs: Glyph of Rending, Glyph of Mortal Strike, and Glyph of Execution, which are your best single target glyphs all day, every day, 365 days of the year. You can't get away from these boys. Let's look at the results, boys. I have this spreadsheet here. I'm going to drop it in the description of the video, and I've gone through everything here. So I've sectioned it out into 3 columns where we have all strength gems, all armor penetration gems, and then our mixed gems. And I've actually brought down the best simming gem mix. Now, in our all strength and all armor pen gem mixes, I did not change out any of these inscribed nobles or our enchanted tier because I still wanted to proc set bonuses, but all of the red gems would have been bold in this column, and all of the red gems in this column would have been fractured. And then here is where I use my best simming gem mix, which is swapping around my red gems, where I use 2 times bold Dragon's Eye, 1 time fractured, 5 times fractured Scarlet, 10 times bold Scarlet. So this is what I have found to be the highest theoretical DPS, but maybe you'll find something better. That's why I'm giving you all of my work here. And I have screenshotted all of the settings of the simulation. So you can see our sword spec talents, our poleaxe spec talents, our kebab talents for the memes. I didn't include any kebab sims here, but just in case you guys want to challenge the frost mages and sub rogues for the best meme spec, here's a kebab arms talent build that you can sim with on the simulator. Then I have our sim settings here with just the full scope of the settings, and then our plate BIS up top, which is a 2-piece setup, and then our 4-piece setup down here. You obviously can't see the gems, but that's why I included the breakdown in our best simming gem mix here of this Arms Warrior Ulduar simulation spreadsheet. Now, what conclusions can we derive from these sims? And you can see this for yourself in the description, boys. Two-handed poleaxe specialization is outperforming two-handed sword. You can see that pretty much down the line. In the BIS sim for sword, you have 8502. And in the BIS sim for poleaxe, you have 8544. Also a mix of strength and armor penetration sims the highest. So going all strength or all armor pen does not seem to be the move based on the sims. Break it up and sim your character, sim your gear to find out where your highest theoretical DPS will come from in Ulduar. The 2-piece is better than the 4-piece right now, but that's only because items that we can swap out to still maintain the 2-piece set bonus are so good in Warhelm of the heck's it called? the Warhelm of the Champion, and the Plated Leggings of Ruination. So those are such good items to swap out those set items because they're 252 item level. That, you know, the 2-piece is simming higher than the 4-piece right now. Now, that would not be the case if they bumped up the set bonus item level, which we hope they do, because it'll just make gearing much easier in Ulduar across all of our classes. Whereas right now, you're going to have every plate DPS gunning for the plate items, or you'll have, you know, all of the plate and leather DPS gunning for the leather shoulders and the leather legs, right? That's why I don't even try to taint our audience with the leather shoulders and the leather legs, because as an arms warrior, again, you're already kind of tiptoeing on the dotted line. Go after plate pieces first, take them after the unholy DKs if that's unholy DK BIS, and be happy you're coming to the raid. You're going to be doing more damage than rep paladins now, so you are not meme tier at all. But you're still doing less damage than combat rogues. So you got to really, you know, you got to get a little bit political in the way you want to gear. And finally, the biggest point of conclusion here, there was a lot of debate on my last video, whether dark matter was better than greatness or not. Here's the numbers. Here's my settings, boys. Dark matter is simming higher than dark moon card greatness across the board. Does not matter what setup you look at. Dark matter is always a little bit better than dark moon card greatness. Does that mean you shouldn't get a greatness? I mean, probably not, because you're talking about like a 20 to 40 DPS difference between dark matter and greatness. So technically, you're almost at Ulduar best in slot levels if you have dark moon card greatness. But if you haven't bought one yet and you don't want to drop a couple thousand gold, you know, just go to the raid, right? Go to 10-man Ulduar, and eventually you're going to get dark matter. We know 10-man loot kind of rains down from the sky with what we've seen in Nax. So hopefully that stays consistent in Ulduar, and the 5 or 6 items that we're looking for our best in slot that come from 10-man, we'll be able to acquire all of those pretty easily within the first couple lockouts. That's what we can hope. So boys, here's the numbers. Again, the spreadsheet is in the comments if you want to go over anything, if you want to check the work, if you want to leverage this as like, you know, your own little guide to how to gear in Ulduar. If you want to talk about this with your loot council, provided it all here for you, just like the olden days with Kebab Warrior. So boys, have a good day, have a good week, have a good month, and have a good year. Tomatosaucin out. Arms Warrior is absolutely in. Thank you.